Welcome, welcome. Thursday morning. Very overcast, rainy, but not super rainy. It's not exactly raining. I call this misting, but I think it's enough to fog up and, fog up the camera lens. So I don't know how great this will be. I don't know how visible everything will be. I'll try to wipe it down a little bit, like so. Every couple blocks or so. I'm just wearing gloves and just like a little long sleeve sweatshirt, but nothing, no rain gear. Probably a dumb idea because it's a little bit damp, but that's okay. Let's see. Apparently Trump was acquitted yesterday. So that's big news, in that it's not really news, because we already kind of knew that was going to happen. But this is not really a political show. What are you going to do? We're just all sort of watching in horror. I'm a New Yorker, so I say horror. While all this dumb stuff unfolds. I think what's crazy is just that if Trump was your like low-level employee for anything, like McDonald's or at your tech startup or whatever, like literally everything he did would be grounds for you would immediately fire the guy and maybe press charges, sexual assault. If you had 25 coworkers or whatever, 26 coworkers, bring that to HR and be like, yeah, this guy I work with, yeah, he's doing a lot of, really inappropriate abuse, touching, whatever, all that stuff. You'd be like, all right, you're fired. That's it. You're done. We can't have this. This is insane. It wouldn't stand. None of the stuff he did. Imagine if you were worked for Lyft and then you contacted Uber for, I don't know. I mean, I can't really come up with an analogy for what he did with Ukraine, but if you did that, you'd be fired. There would be a lawsuit against you, which is what Waymo basically had. Like, they took information and, basically brought it to a different company to undermine the competitor. I mean, it's not really a good analogy, but, it's close. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that because that's just stupid and depressing. Oh boy, what's going on here? Cyclist yelling. Truck driver. Let me just strip this off. No, I think there's some good news today. Brad Lander, city council member, the council is expected to vote, I think, on the Reckless Driver Act, or Reckless Driver Bill. As I understand it, the gist of it is that the worst offenders. This guy just went through a red light. T747737. Weaving around. Look at the weaving that this person's doing. Honking. And so the reckless driver bill basically says the drivers who have the worst, the worst 1% of vehicles as a function of the violations they've gotten, like speeding tickets, whether they're automated or not. So the speeding tickets now count. Will be booted. Will be I guess they take the cars away. And I think they were expecting that to impact roughly 24,000 vehicles. And now, if you kind of consider the five violation cutoff, then it's around 94,000 vehicles. Either way, I mean, I think they're going to kind of split the difference or something. It's maybe 30,000, 40,000, maybe 20,000, whatever it is. That's a lot of drivers with an average of 8 speeding tickets each in a 12-month period. Nuts. These are the worst people on the road. These are the people that absolutely, make it incredibly unsafe for everybody else, for other drivers. Should, like, I feel like drivers the most should want this law, you know, aggressively get all the other drivers who are the worst people, the worst drivers, the most dangerous ones, the ones who are speeding. We know that speed causes crashes. So such thing as an accident when you're doing, you know, 50 miles an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone and trying to race and run red lights. You don't lose control of your car. You have a predictable and preventable crash. And we see that time and time again. I hate, we all hate when the media, tabloids and stuff use the word accident. These are not accidents. And when they say like, oh, so-and-so lost control of their car, like, yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. But this reckless driver bill is a really, really good thing, I think, for the city. I mean, we'll see what happens, you know. I think it's just one of many steps that the city is taking. You know, you have congestion pricing coming in a year, coming in hot. That's huge. You can turn this garbage that you see right here to my right, sorry, into something maybe a little more manageable, you know? And then you also have, so you have the reckless driver bill, you have this restructuring of the DOT for bikes, and you know, more kind of cohesive bike lane infrastructure. What else? Obviously the speed cameras that came out, you know, they increased the number of speed cameras from like 150 to like 700, and that is clearly having, you know, making a difference. Let's see if that's this guy. Go this way. It's like clearly having a difference in that it's you know, the speed cameras are giving like hundreds of thousands of drivers speeding tickets, but I think that's expected, right? You introduce automated enforcement and right away you're catching things that otherwise would have been ignored. But I think the real thing is it's not a data point that's interesting, it's the trend that's more interesting. And the trend that is borne out by the data is basically once drivers get speeding tickets, they tend not to speed again. They tend to only get like one ticket. That's a $50 reminder. Hey, this area is, you know, 25 miles an hour. You exceeded it by like 11 miles an hour. So I think you have to go 36 miles an hour to even trigger a speeding ticket, which is kind of nuts because the whole point of 25 miles an hour is that at 30 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour, death by getting hit by a car at that speed goes up, you know, exponentially. The likelihood of surviving a crash as a pedestrian, right? The likelihood of surviving goes down dramatically when you go from 25 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour. We see this actually, the DOT puts this out on the side of bus stops. And yet, to trigger a speeding ticket for automated enforcement, you have to be doing 36 miles an hour. So any of these drivers could easily be doing 34 in a 25 mile an hour zone, which is still incredibly dangerous and clearly in violation of the speed limit, but not trigger an automated ticket. So that's pretty fair. Like, it's way too fair for drivers. It lets them get away with way too much, I think. But hey, you know, that's the compromise that we have to make. And so with Brad Lander's bill, when you say, oh, this driver got 5 of these kinds of tickets, or any violation, any ticket by a cop also counts, obviously, and all that, in a 12-month period, which means they really didn't learn their lesson. Because, right, like 98% of these, I don't know, it's like 90+% of drivers get 1 ticket. I don't know what it is, but it's, you know, it's like an 80-20 rule, something like that. Like the vast majority are doing, the vast majority of the tickets are for like 1 ticket, and then people learn, and that's their behavior. And so I think the trend that you're seeing is that the trend is people are getting fewer tickets, right? So they're learning, and just there's fewer tickets being issued at a given location, and that's the key. You have to look at the trends at a given location or overall, whatever, but see how many, just the number that's coming out. And I think that number is just regularly declining, not by a lot, but in general, it's a measure of how much speeding is happening. And you know, it's not the best measure, but it's a pretty damn good one. Oh boy, what the hell? Great, my bell really works here. If I honk, this guy might actually do something, like get the out of my way. Golden touch. Golden touch. So here we are at 31st. I don't know how much of this video is like watchable. I feel like it's probably just gonna be super blurry and, you know, cruddy. But you know, let me just up there. Oh, this guy's shopping for shoes. Look at this. Look at this guy. I don't know if you can see. He's definitely shopping for shoes. He's literally scrolling through. That's hilarious. And then he noticed and he saw me. I hope he doesn't run me over, but that's I'm not sure if that's as cute as the dad I saw the other day who was FaceTiming with his daughter, right? Which is also very illegal, but you know, a little more like of a you know, a heartfelt moment. This guy's just rolling with his head down, scrolling through sneakers. And like, all right, that's terrible. I'm definitely gonna post that, but what I think is, like, I don't know what the argument may be, what his point is, you know, what he might say to defend that behavior. I don't even know if I got the license or anything, so. But man, cyclists with cameras every time. I mean, this is what you see all the time when you ride. What is going on here? Why is this guy blocking the road? What are you doing? Why are you here? Like, there's cops helping us out by just literally putting SUVs in the middle of, it's like they're intentionally blocking the bike lane. Like, that's pretty clear, but not actually intending to block the bike lane. Like, you can still use it. There's no actual reason for blocking it. They're just making it, they're literally just not even paying any attention to the fact that they're blocking an actively used bike lane. Oh, jeez. That's NYC. That's what you got to contend with. It's a culture of that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This is Bike Talk. Let me clean that off. There we go. Bike Talk NYC. Thanks for watching. See you next time.